Now, of course, we're talking the MTN 8 quarterfinals, and they kick off this weekend, and many of the top brass of local football will be in action. Let's take a look at the fixtures. Now, of course, we have the Sundowns who started off their ABSA Premiership campaign with a 1-1 draw against Kaizer Chiefs over the weekend. They will host Golden Arrows at 3 p.m. in the early kickoff. Now, Sundowns were in the final of the competition in 2016, but lost out to Bidvest Wits at Mbombela Stadium. Now, at 6 p.m., Kaizer Chiefs square off against Free State Stars. While in the late game, it's that one, of course, Supersport United are away from home to Orlando Pirates at, of course, Orlando Stadium. Now on Sunday, Maritzburg United will take on Cape Town FC. Now, as I explained earlier, we do have a little bit of a drum roll going on because Thabo September is in studio to chat to us. Thabo, thank you for taking the time. I have say drum roll because you're always welcome to be here. And of course, your team is happening to be playing over the weekend. Welcome.
Thank you, Fresh, and always great to be here.
Yeah, Thabo, so I'm going to go straight to it. Of course, the MTN 8 is such a successfully viable tournament in terms of, what it brings to local football. How do you see that this year's tournament unfolding in terms of, what has happened, both on the field and as well as the fan sides as well?
Well, of course, it's a great opportunity for the teams, to get their first silverware for the season. And if you look at how some teams finished last season, they were not happy with how they ended up, and some didn't even get a trophy, and this is a great opportunity early on to start with. And and of course for the fans as well, there's lots of prizes and just to be at the stadium, and there's a lot of opportunities for them to get some prizes, and it's so exciting for everyone, and like the tournament slogan says, Wafa Wafa, so of
course, before we go into sort of the previews of those particular games, let's talk a little bit about, the initiatives that have been brought forward to drive, fans. One of them is the last fan standing. Give us a little bit of an insight as to what that means and how it works.
Firstly, last year, MTN was celebrating 10 years, in the competition, and we had Brian Kuzwayo going to the World Cup in Russia to go have an experience with 7 of his friends. And this year, again, it's happening, and there's a last fan standing again, and an opportunity to win $1 million and take 7 of your friends to any game in the world. You can even go watch.
I'm laughing at that because that seems like the ultimate party, doesn't it?
That's exciting. I wish whoever wins can even put me in that list and be like, hey, Thabo, join us for this trip.
Of course.
Exciting.
Of course, and you got nuances with international players. You could probably help them out there. But having said that, also there's an interesting one where we're talking about goals for charity. Where this weekend's goals, whatever comes out of 10,000 rand will be donated. In terms of how many goals scored to various charities in terms of where the matches are being played. Yeah, and quite a cool initiative to drive the game and obviously, give back as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a great initiative from MTN. So we just expect the players now to produce goals so that, wherever the game, like you said, wherever the game is, if it's like the Sundowns game versus Arrows in Pretoria, so they will find a charity organization that they can donate, if they scored 4 goals, the 40,000 rand that's going to be donated in that area, so that to uplift that area, and it's a great initiative. And I have to commend as well that, sometimes we forget about the other people who are, the ones who are in the disadvantaged areas, and this will definitely go a long way.
Well, it certainly does help in terms of driving the consumer and obviously the fan who is from, traditionally from those particular areas.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the community, it's part of the teams that are playing in that area. So we are also helping the teams as well for them to do their CSIs in an event, and this definitely will go a long way, and I'm sure there will be more people coming to the stadium because of such events, and this create more hype to the game itself.
Of course, one of the other things is the pre-match predictions as well. I don't want to say it, but you know, like who are you buying for?
It's a tough weekend, you know. That's why it's an MTN 8 because you just choose the top 8 teams that you know that did well last season, and anyone can beat anyone in this competition. But of course, there will be favorites, you know, going into the games because of maybe performances in terms of the season. 2 games already played in the season, so
Look
you
at you
can
being
tell.
so neutral there. Hey? Look at you being so neutral.
I have to be.
Of course, you know, you are part of that fraternity now, you know, no longer a player. Perhaps you could even say a broadcast journalist of sorts, or, you know, someone that in the broadcast sphere. There's also an initiative to drive, you know, a quiz that's going to be happening as well for the journos to get in among some of the prizes as well. Are you going to toss your hat in there?
I'm not allowed to participate in that, but
maybe
of course,
you can scoop a couple of answers to the rest of us.
There's an opportunity for you, Pressure. I mean, last journalist standing, it's a great opportunity which you can enter as well online. And MTN has made sure that they bring it back. It was there before, and of course, we are celebrating the 10th year last year, and we didn't have the last journalist standing, but it's back again, showing appreciation to all the journalists who've been, you know, in this part of the journey with MTN. And it's a great opportunity. You can even maybe attend a game in Benabawa or Kamnu or something like that, wherever the last man standing takes you.
Well, I love that you mentioned that. Now, me being the journalist, I've got to, you know, sort of put a benchmark here. You know, obviously the big game is the one against Pirates, and you know, give us a little bit of perspective from a sort of Supersport perspective in terms of, you know, the dressing room and what's been transpiring, because it is a change of guard. It is someone that you'll now brought up from your own ranks into the tournament, and obviously, you know, taking the lead. What are you hoping for? You know, because it is the first trophy of the season that's up for grabs. Is it something that, you know, you would say this early in the season that they need to be there and thereabout in order to cement where they want to be, you know, at the end of the season?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel, you know, having attended the press conference, you know, yesterday, he knows, as the head coach, Kaitano Tembo, he knows that there's responsibilities in such a position, and pressure will always be there. Like, he played the game, so he understands the pressure, and Supersport is a team that always gets trophies at the end of the season. There will be 1 or 2 trophies in the bag. So he knows his expectations. He might not want to be throwing too much pressure on himself, but the team wants results, and he's in the position now of a head coach where he's running the whole team basically, and team wants results. And he's someone that has been in the club for a long time, and saying that, so the players are familiar with him. So there's no way of still understanding the team and the culture and everything. He's been there, and he knows what is expected, and he knows the job. I mean, I just wish him well. You know, this is the first opportunity for him now, having been the head coach, to take a trophy.
You know, obviously, being the fact that he's stepping up into a bigger shoe, so to say, you know, it isn't, you know, that easy to come from, you know, the lower tiers or even, you know, the development tiers into the first team, because, you know, the spotlight's on you. You've got to hit the ground running, and effectively, if you've got a couple of losses under the belt, it's a little bit of pressure. So, do you feel that, you know, even the coach himself, you know, perhaps looking at this tournament at this stage as, you know, as an early benchmark of, you know, what he would like to do for the rest of the season?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's an opportunity for him to start to get momentum into the season, and having lost the first game against Cape Town City and winning the second game against Amazulu, now he knows, you know, gradually things are gonna go, you know, they should go up, and the season, you know, it's long and it's a marathon, so you need to find your feet and get into the groove of the game itself, and then, you know, results will come through. So a win was good for him and for his team, of course, for confidence. and especially going into the MTN 8. Playing against Pirates in Orlando is never easy, but Supersport has got a good track record. In the past probably 5-6 years at Orlando, and they've got an opportunity. But
you could argue that Pirates find themselves in a similar sort of situation or a similar predicament. Whereas last year, Meet You Now, it's no longer the swan song. It's last year was a sort of a healing year, so to speak. If you were there at the press conference, he mentioned that. For him as well, it now means, listen, business end, we've got to start showing something this season. Would you say the pressure's on him?
No, he said it himself. He said this season it's more like now soul-feeding kind of a season. They've held now. They need to get to a point now. Results come with trophies. And they had a good season last season. Finished second to Mamelodi Sundowns in the league, but no trophies. And now he knows that supporters now expect him and his team to bring trophies to Orlando, and that he knows the mandate. And he's a very experienced coach.
I'm smiling at that because the supporters at Orlando are quite a tough crowd to please. So having finished second last season, having shown some really good form at key periods, they'll definitely want to build on that. The other team, of course, that's taking part is obviously Kaizer Chiefs, one of the big names. A bit of an indifferent, season to start off with pre-season, and not knowing who's going to be coaching where and all sorts of things. Do you feel that perhaps at this stage they're a bit under the radar, and given the result that the results haven't been so great so far?
Which is, you can't really put them under the radar. They supposed to be close to Sundowns. So, having the coach, towards the later part of the preseason, it's quite a tricky one. But they had Mabedi, who's been at the club, and Athazwano has been at the club for too long. So they must have polished the players. Supporters don't want to hear excuses. Especially in big teams like Orlando Pirates and Chiefs and Sundowns. So they want results. And that's what is expected of the coach. And you can feel there will be pressure early on in that having lost to Bidvest 3-1 and playing against Free State Stars, a team that they lost against, in a cup competition where, what happened in Durban. And so expectations are high and they want revenge for that. So the coach, if you didn't know what he was in for this weekend,
he's certainly going to know it this weekend.
This weekend will really.
Do you feel that Kaizer Chiefs, if you look perhaps a couple of seasons ago, or even 4 or 5 years back, they were definitely sort of one of the benchmarks, and yet the transfer window has been there. Players have been bought. You've got key players that have come in from Sundowns, of course, and who I'm alluding to here. How do you see their season sort of panning out, over and above the MTN 8 as well?
I'm not really excited about what the season will be like for Kaizer Chiefs, because they are a good team, good club, but when they've got the players that they have, signing Kamabilia only is not going to change the whole team. It's going to be a difficult season, I think. And it's when you sign Kamabilia, you're signing someone you expect a lot of goals. But how are those goals are going to come about? He needs to go and defend and go and attack at the same time. It's going to be a lot of work from him to achieve that. Because
it's interesting you mentioned that, because obviously an attacker doesn't want to go back in terms of trying to find the goal, to build it from the back. You want that build up that needs to happen, and there's a bit of, lack of a better word, old legs in that midfield, isn't it?
It's the creation. Sometimes the leg can be old, but the vision is there, and it takes time sometimes. And if you are experienced enough, you would know when to use it, when to put the ball through for him. I don't think this season is going to be an easy season for Kama. For him to be like a player of the season, he will have to dig really deep for his team, and meaning a lot of hard work, instead of finishing just doing all the easy stuff like
last one for me, buddy. Obviously, we're running out of time.
Sure.
But Sundowns and up against Arrows, how do you see that match going? Who are you putting your money on?
It's always a difficult one when you look at Arrows, how they play. Their coach, Clinton Larson, how smart he is, of course, of the knowledge of South African football. But Sundowns has got, the players and the coach to do the business, and playing at home, I would feel Sundowns is it's gonna be a tough one, but Sundowns is gonna go through on that one.
Well, Thabo, thank you for taking the time. It just went like that, as you can see, for obviously chatting to us. And of course, that was Thabo September, who is no stranger to the world of football, having played for Supersport himself now.